Nashi, I also have my own story that I want to tell you so that you can share with the rest of the world. My siblings and I, we have a vow and some rules that were left behind for us by our parents. Even today, as we are speaking, we are still following those vows and those rules as a family. My father and my mother left all the rules and the oath, and they told us that we had to follow those vows just in case if they died or if they went missing. My father and my mother had their own beautiful house, but they only managed to build this house because they were involved in evil rituals. They had moved from the village and they had came and had to build their house in the city. By the time that me and my siblings were born, my parents were already staying in the city. So when we were growing up, we were taught and we were made to do a lot of rituals and weird things that we could not understand. But we did them anyway because our parents said so and we had to obey our parents. So growing up in our house, there were a lot of rules. And I remember that when I was 12 years old, I had just turned 12 at that time. What happened is that I came home one day from school, and when I entered the house, I saw that my father was sitting next to my mother, and right there was another man who was sitting with them. My parents then introduced this man to us. My parents said that this man was the family doctor. We then sat down. Then my mother told me to go and call my two siblings, my two brothers. My mother then told my sisters, saying that they had to go to their spare room. She said that she would only call them out after we had finished whatever that she wanted us to do. But on that day, Brother Nashi, the last thing that I remember is that we were given an injection by that doctor. Then we felt dizzy. Then we fell asleep, me and my brothers. When we woke up, we were outside. We were not wearing anything. We were naked. And me and my siblings, we were surrounded by some strange men. These men, we could not properly see them because they had wrapped themselves in some blankets. And those blankets, they were black in color. These men, you could not see them. These men had their faces covered so that we could not tell them apart. But the more that they spoke and sang, I heard that my father was among these men because I had recognized his voice. These men, when they sang, what they will do is that they passed to each other a tortoise that they had, and each one of them, whenever that tortoise was passed on to them, that person would then sprinkle some liquid foam on that tortoise, and the liquid that they were sprinkling on that tortoise was a liquid which looked more like blood than water. These men kept on singing and they kept on doing what they were doing. When these things were happening and as they performed their rituals, one of these men suddenly looked at me and he saw that I had regained my consciousness, and he came to where I was laying and he violently kicked me with his boots and I collapsed again. Growing up, these things kept on happening to us until the day that our parents died. One day, our parents just went out. They told us that they were going on a holiday trip. And then later on, some men arrived at our house and told us that our father and our mother were at the mortuary. These men then explained everything to us. They told us that our parents had been involved in an accident and both my mother and my father, they had died on the spot. So we wanted to go and to see our parents. But as for me, my brothers and my sisters, we were all forbidden to go and to attend our parents' funeral. What they did is that they said to me, since I was the firstborn, I alone was the one who went with these men to help them to identify my parents' bodies when they were still at the mortuary. The name of that hospital is called party. But this we did in secret. Those men told me that I had to keep this secret for my relatives. So growing up, I never told any of my relatives that I had gone with these men to the hospital to help them identify the body of my mother and the body of my father. What happened is that when we arrived at the hospital gate, it was already late. It was night time when we got there. But before we could enter into the hospital premises, I saw that whilst we were at the hospital gate, the security guard who was on duty that night, at first he had refused us entry into the hospital premises, but those men that I was with spoke with him, and I saw that that security guard, he had been given loads and loads of money to allow us into the hospital premises. After we had gotten into the hospital premises, we walked around and we went at the back of the hospital. Then we went to the mortuary. When we got there, we met that same doctor, that very same doctor who used to come to our house, who once gave me and my brothers those injections that would make us sleep. He had a name tag on him. I still remembered that name that was written on his name tag. But now that I am getting older, I can't recall a lot of things because of age. The memories are slowly fading away. So, whilst we were still at the mortuary, I saw that the bodies of my father and the body of my mother were placed on top of the mortuary table, but they were all covered with black blankets. These people then surrounded my parents the same way that they used to surround me and my siblings when we were lying on the ground, and they began to pray. They prayed in a foreign language. The language that they used when they were praying, I don't know what kind of a language they were using. After they had performed that ritual, the doctor then gave me a piece of paper. On that paper, there was an oath, a vow, and there were some rules that were written on it. He made me to swear in front of my father and my mother, and he told me that since I was their firstborn child, I had to swear. So I swore that I would follow everything that was written on that paper. After these men had said their prayers, we left the mortuary. Then we got into the car. But as we were leaving the hospital, I noticed that that same doctor was in the same car with us, and as we left the hospital premises, we were never asked anything by the security guards at the gate, because those security guards, they recognized the doctor that was with us in the same car. Those people then returned home with me, and they left me and my siblings at a certain house. This house that they left us at, the owner of that house was a friend of our parents. This man was then made to be our guardian, and he was the one who was going to take care of us until we grew up. So growing up, we grew up as people, or let me say, as children who lived alone in that house without parents. We lived in that house that our parents had left for us. But here and there, that man, he would come and check on us, but he didn't stay with us 24/7. But there was a lot that was going on in that house. Me and my brothers and my sisters, sometimes we could just see our old dead relatives standing maybe in the house. Sometimes they'll be standing in the kitchen or in the toilet. But the ghost of this relative will just stand there with the blood all over it. Sometimes the ghost will just stare at us, then it will go into the wall and simply disappear. My parents had told me that if such things were to happen in our house, what I should do is that we were supposed to use the vows that they had given me, and then the spirits of our dead relatives would leave our house. But if these spirits were to leave our house, they would go around and they would torment our relatives. Brother Nashi, this is our own family secret. I just wanted to say these few things that used to happen to us as we were growing up.
Oh, Lord. Lord. Another one.